It's amazing what you guys do.
I think what you're doing is absolutely marvelous.
One, two, three, four.
What's going on?
You don't. There's no expectation of privacy in public.
It's illegal in Washington to record somebody's content.
It's not though. Yeah, it's the First Amendment.
Aren't you guys recording us though? That's kind of a double standard.
My right to do this is the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, religion, press, petition, and assemble. What's your right to that? I shouldn't do that. Like, you don't want to be recorded. Have a good night. You live in a park. It's paid for by tax dollars. I'm not. It's the First Amendment. That's why I'm doing it. Okay, close mouth. It matters. It's just about more.
As it is 6:30, we will call this meeting to order. Wes, would you take the roll, please?
Yep. Councilman Davies. Present. Councilman Berry. Present. Councilman Lane. Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Present.
Councilman Warner.
Present.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
Everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment to be heard? No public comment being heard. We'll move on to the consent calendar. I'm sure most of you, or all of you, have had the chance to review the consent calendar, and I would ask for unanimous consent in approving the consent calendar. If there's any objections, please voice them. If there are no objections, I would move that the consent calendar is unanimously accepted. All right. Planning and zoning, Brian?
Before you, I have a synopsis report. Planning and zoning actually got together on the 25th of June, pretty much as a request from a local property owner to discuss. And so we specifically were discussing hi, Grant.
Hi there.
Storage units and whether or not storage units would be an acceptable land use. As we looked into our land use ordinance, we do not list storage units as a approved conditional use or primary permitted use. But so that raised the question: what do we want to do? Do we want to add this? So we left that up to the next meeting. As we looked at the zoning map with Mr. Druffel, we had identified some things that he wasn't aware of, that he actually owned property within the neighborhood residential zone that at the end of Frank Street that, you know, could also possibly work for a site for possibly storage units. You know, if the community felt that that was something that could be put there that wouldn't cause any kind of, you know, issues with the town as far as people accessing it. But I think we're starting the discussion now as to where something like that should go. Obviously, entry commercial is probably the best suited land zone for something like that. We do have some industrial land in town that would also work for something like that. So over the next few months, we will work, assuming the council wants us to pursue this, and I think the council does, we will pursue trying to get some consistent language that identifies what a storage unit is. Right now, I can't find any in the county land use ordinance, but we can go around and talk to some of the other communities in our county and find out, like Palouse and whatnot, find out, even the city of Pullman, and find out what their language and their definition of a storage unit would be. So I think it's a good project for us to, potentially identify something that could go on the list in a zone, a commercial or an industrial or a neighborhood residential, if it wouldn't, if it would meet all the requirements that the community wanted. So part of it would also be engaging the community, having a public hearing and doing all that, so that we could get feedback, because we don't want to go and try and change something without having buy-in from the community. So that is going to be on our list of things to do. Also, I reported that we continued to discuss that on Monday night when we met. We've identified a few other housekeeping issues, like building height, the chart that shows how we redid the building height language in 2014 and never got it really on the final approved copy, or the approved revised copy that's currently in circulation. So I think what we really want to do is try and get the land use ordinance up to date. So what's in circulation out there is really true. So a little embarrassing there, but we plan on working on that, and we of course report everything that we're doing every month. Has anybody got any questions about that?
So no, I think it's a good idea to move forward.
To move forward with it?
I would be resistant to putting it in residential.
Yeah.
But
well, that's, we talked with
commercial,
Alan.
industrial, perfect.
We talked with Alan about that property that was formerly MacArthur's property over there, and number one, it borders neighborhood residential across from Union Street, and so if you were to try and equalize a building site on that piece of property, how would you mitigate that? And if a storage unit is going to be the kind of thing that people have access to 24/7, then we got a different, we talked about that also. So I think Alan has stepped way away from that whole idea, and the gist of it was, why should he buy a piece of land when he already owns some land within the city limits that he could potentially use for something like that? So we'll keep talking with him. He wanted to go back to the drawing board and talk with his wife. So no real hurry up and get something done here, but it certainly is something that could engage the planning commission as we move through the summer into the fall and the winter. It would give us, something to work on in preparation for the critical area ordinance update due in 2027, which we will be able to get grant money for a consultant to help us with that, if we really have to change much. And I'm not foreseeing a big change, but that's what's going on with planning and zoning. Any questions for anybody?
So what are we considering a storage unit? Something built that private party, the owner, is gonna rent out to public people?
Well, that's what we have to decide. We have to decide that if we want someone to put in a facility that rents to the public, and if that's gonna be an accessory use or a conditional use, so there can be conditions put on it, which I highly recommend. We just have to go through all that.
And so what is this down at the end of the road here?
There is some entry commercial property down on
The already existing building
that.
by the ice cream
Private.
thing.
Right.
So, okay, so
They're not gonna rent to the public. And that's unfortunate, because it's in entry commercial, that little strip right there across from the front of the subdivision.
So it's just like anybody's else's shop, that's just a private shop.
Yeah, the owner of that decided that they're not to rent to the public, so, it's just a private piece of property.
Okay.
Yeah, we may wanna, I don't know, we may not wanna touch that zoning and just leave it as is, because, properties sell. And down the road, somebody might wanna do an intercommercial thing there. I'll also remind the council that the front 4 lots, with excluding the 2 settling ponds, are still zoned intercommercial. We never changed them to urban residential. There was talk of that when Ashley bought the property and was talking possibly about putting townhouses there. But that never went any further than the meeting we had on site.
And those 2 settling ponds, we figured out that are city property.
Those are city property, right, for
Given to us.
right, they were given to the town, as part of the plat approval process. We required that. We just need to hook them up, right?
Well,
Or are they hooked up?
They partially.
Yeah.
Very partially.
Any other questions about that? Great.
There's no other questions for Brian. We'll move on to maintenance. Kevin?
So the Audit project is moving along nicely. Proposed is in town sweeping excess material after their first shot of oil and rock on top of the new base that they just put in. So they plan to do their second shot and complete that portion of the project tomorrow and Friday. And then I'm not sure how long they're gonna let it go before they sweep again, but I'm assuming with this heat, they'd like to get as much traffic on it as possible before they sweep again. So that's going along great. The chip seal work that was done by the county, we had Herco come up and sweep the excess material from that project. That was done on July 1st. So road projects are, the paved streets, chip seal is completed fully. Audit seal is moving along just fine. The parks, so I know a lot of people's meter reads are jumping up during the summer months as they usually do. I also picked up our parks to be watered more, especially with the heat. Try and keep them from getting too brown. Let's see. At Memorial Park, we're in the planning phases of a RV sewer dump station for the community. We decided on a location in the right-of-way by Memorial Park, and that planning phase is going great. I've got cost estimate and kind of a rough timeline. Still working on some, the fine details, but moving along there. I expect the cost of that project to be right around $1,500, give or take $100 or $200. But I think that'll be, there is quite a few campers in town. It'd be nice to, have a spot where residents can utilize that. Let's see here. For sewer, I've got an operator training class starting the 15th of this month. That's a 5-week class, a couple hours a day, which I think I'm going to benefit greatly from. We are expecting to receive our lift station pump from KME, you said Monday the 15th, okay. So we're hopeful about that still.
The rebuild?
Yes, one we've been waiting for seems
4
like
years.
all eternity. So hopefully I'll have some good news about that next meeting. At the sewer ponds, I've got some more tree removal to do around the final pond. There's no major vegetation growing around the bladdered ponds, so we don't have any real concern about that, but the Department of Ecology would really like to see essentially no vegetation at the lagoons, limited as possible. So I'll be, after this heat wave, I'll be starting a lot of that, and it's a pretty big job, so I don't know if Brian has a day or two that he's looking for something to do. I might have him maybe help with driving trailer back and forth to dump, and so that would be awesome.
Is this mostly brush and
Small trees, yeah.
Small trees?
Nothing,
Nothing over 2 inches or?
Yeah,
an inch.
maybe a few, but nothing too big.
Okay, so
I had the big stuff was taken out by a removal company last
year, yeah.
So
Yeah, just let me know.
yep. And on that topic, I know the burn pile is getting pretty crowded out there between just the burn pile itself, and I've been having I've had Poe and just Poe dump their what they've swept off the streets out there, because it's not super refined material and I didn't want to add it to our rock bunkers at the shop. So
We've dumped it out there in the past.
yeah, and I think I have a pretty good use for that stuff out there too. So I'll put it to use. It won't just sit there. But the backhoe is in Colt right now. Steve's using it. So once I get that back, I'll be able to. I would do it with a smaller green tractor, but there's not. It's pretty tall already, so I won't be able to get a whole lot of headway done with that tractor. But when the backhoe comes back, I'll be
If I
able.
put my bucket on, I could come over and see
Yeah,
what I can do.
you're more than welcome
Yeah.
to see what you can do.
At least that outer edge, we can
Yeah,
get that
just-
pushed back.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay.
So
We'll talk after the meeting.
yeah, sounds good. So yeah, as soon as I get the backhoe back, I'll make sure. It's just this time of year I stay away from burning, and there's only a couple of burn days anyway throughout the summer for the Department of Ecology. So
One of these days.
when we can, we will.
We're gonna have to start a solid waste department here. Brent, you know it. We've talked about this for years.
So that's all I've got. Anybody have any questions?
The RV clean out,
Uh-huh.
would that be kind of across from the manhole?
So the RV cleanout would be, let's see, what would that be?
There's a manhole,
That would
the
be
last,
east, so there's a cleanout.
that's a
Not
clean
s-
out.
Yeah, there's a small shed, that backs up against Bear Locker's property.
The
There's a
old jail.
clean out right in
Yeah.
front of that. It would be up the street from that, and we would be adding infrastructure to meet the existing sewer infrastructure, and,
Just the water, the hydrant.
yep, there'd be, we install frost-free, for water, so. That is also a project that, we'll use the backhoe for, so.
So the south side of the street, east of the jail.
North side of the street, east of the jail, on the same side as Memorial.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of over where that
Got it.
pile of bark used to be,
Yep.
in that area.
So,
Thank you.
any other questions?
Wes?
Okay, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, as a matter of housekeeping, I would petition the council to consider a motion to amend the agenda to include new business for the estimate that we got from John Schley Construction for the bathrooms. That came in after the agenda was officially posted.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, is there any discussion?
I have some questions about it. Are we talking about the actual bid now?
No, we're talking about
Okay.
Putting it on.
The agenda. is over.
Very well. I don't have any discussion.
The first and the second, we'll vote. If you are in agreement, do so by saying aye.
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 Perfect.
New business.
We'll put that under new business there. So yeah, things are going great. We are training right now and doing that. We got the water usage is up quite a bit because it's that time of year. So we're seeing quite a bit of that. Going over our budget, where we're sitting at where we should be halfway through the year at 50% in a lot of the places. And our money spent is actually at 19% for the year. I expect that to go up as we consider some of the things later on in the agenda for the office of budget. Yeah, things are business as usual at Town Hall. Cool. Any questions, Ray?
All right, moving on to old business, we have Celtic and the Audit Seal project.
Is you have someone who can read this, or is it your?
That would be great. Wes, can you read the letter from Celtic, please?
This is a letter from Celtic Engineering, our consultant on the Audit Seal and Chip Seal project. Work is progressing nicely on the Audit Seal project. Thank you to the city personnel and all the residents for their patience. PO will continue this work Friday, July 12th and Monday, July 15th with chipping and a second shot. The project should be completely finished up by the 3rd or 4th week of July. Celtic is requesting the council consider a motion authorizing the mayor to sign a pay request for the Audit Seal project. We have pay request number 1 and a Celtic invoice available tonight for review and approval. There will be one additional pay request in the next couple of weeks, and then a final request to resolve quantities in the contract and pay the retainage once the project is approved. The pay requests are certified, verified, and approved by the engineer of record, Celtic, prior to routing for signature to the contractor. The clerk uploads the pay request information to the TIB website for payment. Celtic has received very few calls from residents, and residents have been very patient, courteous, and positive with their questions. We appreciate working in the area with the community so interested and encouraging with the work being completed. As always, thank you, Eric and Lisa. And with that, you should find enclosed Celtic's invoice in your packet, and then also PO's first pay request for the amount of $234,615.56.
I would entertain a motion to approve Celtic's estimate or their
Pay request.
invoice.
I so move that we.
Second?
I'll second it.
The first and the second. Is there any discussion?
These are pretty much right on what our
Yeah.
estimate was.
Yeah. We're still well within that.
Within our budget.
Any further discussion?
And so when you upload these to where we're gonna upload, they're not gonna be surprised.
No, this project was bid at, well.
I mean, they're expecting this, obviously.
100%.
Right.
This is a normal
Yeah.
process for this
Great.
to work.
Fabulous.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, as another housekeeping, you accepted a motion to accept Celtic's pay request. I'd also like to ask for a motion to accept PO's pay request as well.
We'll do that in a separate motion after we bid on the first one, be fine.
No further discussion on Celtic's pay request? All in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll move to approve the PO pay request as well.
I'll second that as well.
Okay, any discussion on the proposed pay request? All right, there is no discussion, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, community building?
Nothing to report. Their monthly meeting falls on the first Thursday of every month, which was July 4th, and so their board opted not to meet in July. Our next meeting is the first Thursday in August, so I have no news.
Les? UCDA?
We were invited to get that grant. We found out we were disinvited because they don't think we're ready yet. So Nicole's working with them to find out what we need to do to hopefully reapply. And we could be invited back in September if we get everything done we need to. And then the back party was good. We had a pretty good turnout. Great music.
Great music.
I don't think that's all I have.
Any questions from the council for the UCDA?
Well, so you've got some work to do on that. Is it monumental? Is it huge? A huge amount of work?
We're not sure. Nicole was trying to get a hold of the person to find out exactly what more needs to be done.
She's gonna work with the port.
Yeah, the port.
Port and the person that's doing the curb grant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they've been very helpful in the past. So let us know if there's anything we can do.
All right, moving on to new business, introduction of the new clerk treasurer. That's something you'd like me to do, or is that something you would like to do?
Mr. Nicholas, that's your pleasure, sir.
So, the mayor has elected to hire Miss Kimberly Brickey, and I think she's a great fit. I sat in on the interviews. They were all very good, but this is what we went with, and I think it's going to be a great position for her. Lex, do you have anything else? Kim?
I've been working with him for, we did a Sunday, billing day, and then today's our first day. It is a little bit of a baptism by fire, if you will. But she's learning, and there's a learning curve. I would ask that you please be patient and gracious with her, as you don't learn this stuff overnight. So.
Welcome aboard.
Yes. Glad to have you.
Officially welcome.
Thank you.
Excited.
And good luck, Wes.
All right, moving on to our professional services contract.
I'm not quite there. So before you have a professional services contract, you have a letter from Adam. Adam has reviewed this contract, finds it it's acceptable. So I would ask the council consider this professional services contract. This would be for any future training I do with Kim. I would be as a 1099 employee. That saves the town money. They're not paying employment tax and or retirement for me as well. We put a maximum of $5,000. Anything above and beyond that would have to be approved by the town council. And I had to put an end date on that of January 1st, 2025. Anything beyond that, if needed, which I doubt will be, because Kim is such a quick learner that the council would have to consider that as well.
The $5,000, is that for the entire term?
That would be for the entire term of the contract, yeah. If for some reason I don't foresee it needing to do more than that, we would have to come back to council and council approval for that.
I move to approve the personal service contract.
First, do we have a second?
When do you foresee you'll have actual time?
It'll be evenings and weekends.
Evenings and weekends, okay.
Yep.
And so will Kim be off during the days?
No, Kim will work at the normal 4.
So will that be overtime for Kim?
You know, we can discuss that. Kim can flex out her time. If she knows she's gonna have a weekend with me, she can leave early on a Thursday, maybe work on a Sunday, things like that. She'll work with her direct report, which is will be next short when he gets back, as to how she wants to work out that schedule. But I don't foresee a ton of overtime being needed for that.
Well, I don't think it should be free time for her either.
No, 100% not. It would be-
Okay. Very well.
First, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? No discussion heard. All in favor, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right. Now we have the item on the agenda, the John Schley construction contract.
Is this the only bid we received on this, or?
We did receive another bid, and that contractor withdrew his bid, and is now not in a state of being able to continue the contract.
And there's an updated contract.
Yeah, you guys, I think you guys an updated one, so, yeah, there wasn't, the updated one should be for the amount of 22,000.
40321.
Yeah. It is, we found it extremely difficult to find contractors that, want to take this contract on. We've looked at small work roster, not heard anything back. I'll remind the council, this is under our $75,000 threshold per our procurement policy. We don't need to go after the small works roster, but, we went on the small work roster just to try to find
I
somebody.
guess, this one.
Not a lot of guys want to take on jobs this small. I know it seems big to us, but
It seems expensive.
yeah.
And is this, part of this is the grant from,
I would also remind the council that the port is paying $25,000 of this.
okay, right.
And our
Port
painting
of Whitman
bid,
County?
yeah, Port of Whitman
Okay,
County.
thank you.
And our painting bid came in at $3,500. We'll be right about what the grant amount was. The town was to match that grant with $5,000, but we'll be under that, so we'll take 25 from Whitman County, invoice in for that, receive those refunds, and then pay our portion with whatever's left over.
I still have a question about,
Yeah.
so I'm reading number 2 here,
Yes, sir.
on, I guess, the old one and the new one, and it says, replace 2 existing hollow metal doors and jambs with new doors and jambs. Include commercial grade metal hydraulic closer, door lever, deadbolt, kick plate, sweep, jam seal, exterior pull bar, and so forth. And then read number 3, it says hollow metal doors, jams, closers, door hardware, epoxy. I'm confused, is that not the same thing? But yet one's 73 and one's 83?
So one of those doors will be an ADA compliant door. The other door is not an ADA compliant door.
I think there's a typo where it should say door instead of
Yes, I believe
doors.
there's a typo where it says doors and it should say door.
Well, it does say quantity one.
So you have quantity 1 and 1.
That's seems like a lot.
It does. It does.
Because when I worked here, I installed new jam, new door, new closer, new latches, the whole works, and it wasn't even close to that.
Do you have somewhere from them that actually breaks this down into parts and labor?
No, this is the only estimate I got from him. I know that labor is included in that.
Is that something that is not appropriate to ask for?
I could ask for it. If you'd like me to ask for a better breakdown, I could definitely ask for that.
To further what Jim was asking earlier, this is a non-compliant, number 3 is a non-ADA compliant door, and number 2 is a ADA compliant door.
Correct.
So it's gonna be one or the other, not both,
Yeah,
but they've added them together for the bill.
one will be ADA compliant, one will not be. Because they're
No,
There
there's-
are 2 doors.
There's 2 doors.
Yeah, one of
Okay.
Right.
And we took out we were gonna put in the stands with the buttons. That was another $12,000 because they cut the concrete and put those in. And inevitably, he said they tend to break down. So if the council would like, I can definitely go back and ask for a better breakdown from Mr. Slay and see where else we would go. I would need to ask the Port of Whitman to consider potentially an extension on this contract. We were looking at a summer of 2024 construction completion timeline, so I would need to go back and ask them too, but, if the council is uncomfortable with that, I would be more than willing to do that.
I mean, that's pretty common for a bid to bid it out like that's fairly common.
And the figure is the 22,400 figure,
Yeah.
correct? So, well,
So really on number 2 here, it should really be only replace one.
Correct.
And on number 3, it should say door, not doors.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at quantity over here, it's 1 and 1.
Yeah.
it's one.
Yeah, that's a typo on this.
Oh,
on
sure,
the-
right, okay.
Yep.
That's not even 2 doors.
I think the first bid had a better breakdown of each of the things.
It's the same.
It's basically the
Same,
same.
yeah.
One of them said like repainting the door on site versus.
Yeah,
Oh. So that,
but it wasn't a breakdown of hours versus material.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. As long as it's within our budget and within our grant, I'm fine.
yeah,
Time to. We want
Especially since we can't get it.
No, we don't need to nitpick, I just
Yeah.
was confused how many doors and, very well.
I would entertain a motion to accept the bid from John Schley Construction.
no, second.
So moved.
I'll second.
The first and the second, is there any discussion? All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright. Mayor comments. Well, I am not your mayor, so, this has been, this has been fun and interesting for me. It's the first time I've had to do this, and, Brian, I appreciate you for doing it in the past. Kim, I'm really happy that you're here, and, I think you're gonna be a great addition to the council and just the town in general, so I'm very excited about what you bring to the table. So it's good to have you. Wes, I wanna thank you for, all you've done. And, we wouldn't be where we're at financially without you. So, that's it for me. Council comments, Brian?
Well, I'd just like to echo that. Same feelings, Kim, welcome to the job. Thank you for applying and the courage to apply for a small municipal government job. So is she going to be clerk treasurer or is she going to be city manager?
Clerk treasurer, I believe.
Okay. So, Wes, thank you really for getting us squared away into a position where we could bring someone new into this position, and a lot of the bumps have been taken out of it. So I think it'll be a smooth transition, and we know, like we talked about the other day on Sunday, we know the things that are important are right in front of us, and we're gonna focus on those. So thanks for making it so smooth of a transition. And please lean on me if I can be of any help. Thank you.
Welcome, Kim. I'm new to this position myself, so bear with me. I have had a lot of questions for Wes. I'll try to refrain and bother you with those while you're in your learning process, and I'll still hit up Wes. Yeah, I don't even know how to begin to thank you, Wes, for what you've done and where you've put us. Really, I'm not sure I have words to express my gratitude and humbleness for what you've done.
It's like a whole nother planet.
It's so greatly appreciated. And thank you for offering to continue to help us and help Kim. I personally appreciate that because it's just gonna make things a lot easier for everybody, including the town. Thank you so much.
thank you and congratulations and welcome aboard. It's, I think it will be a good team, and I think if we just continue on the path that we're headed down, that we can make this place a lot better than it was, so. Thank you. Both of you.
Once again, welcome aboard. And Wes, I do appreciate all you've done for the town. Good luck with your future endeavors. And I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
We are adjourned.
And
Can I ask where you're from?
From the valley, down in Clarkston. Clarkston.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, long story short, when COVID hit, we were forced to wear masks until the city council, who I knew one of them, Kevin Kelly, I called him up and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you cannot, you're forcing people against freedom. And so the next meeting, he voted it out. And that's how I was able to take it off of work. So I couldn't watch the Clarkston City Council online because they didn't post it. They did post Lewiston's though. So I started recording that and figured, shoot, why not? Well, I wanted to get to Lewiston too because they are long-winded sons of guns. Holy cow. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to show up with a camera one day and just see if they freak out. They seem a lot more corrupt, I guess, than what I've seen at Clarkston so far. Just different, I guess. Just voting in their people for the airport board and stuff like that. And that's how I learned that. I didn't realize the town had to pay for the airport. The people, the taxes have to pay for the airport, which is, I don't fly. I hate flying. So I'll probably do a story on that one day too. And it's just a lot about just to see if people respect your rights. So I've been doing the Clarkston ones for 4 months now, something like that. And it's amazing. Almost every time I go in there, it's getting better, but there's a lot of people that you can't record me. Well, I can. Freedom of the press. And so it's just interesting. It's interesting. I've done some
When you're in
public
space too.
Yeah, I've done some public photography, and you'd be amazed. That's why I don't get my channel out. Be amazed how many people get mad at you just for recording in public. And so it starts as an educational thing. And then a lot of times it turns into, like, one time down in Clarkston on Main Street, they called the cops on us. And I had the scanner going, luckily, but the cop was like, I think it was 211. He's like, tell them it's perfectly legal and I'll contact the business. So it's just really cool to hear the cops standing up for our rights too. So, and it's kind of like this. It's just kind of a stress test. I work in Pullman, just driving by, and I thought, you know what? I see all the empty businesses. I'm going to go check it out just to see. And you guys you respected my rights completely. So props to you guys. I figured, I was hoping in a small town, as much as I do get yelled at, I was really hoping in a small town I wouldn't. But it's just testing the freedom of press.
Yeah,
so
cool.
it's fun to do. It's fun to do till you get yelled at. So, hey, thanks for not yelling at me. Yeah. Hopefully it'll spark some people in the community. I don't know how it is up here, but I know Clarkston, the only reason they show up at the meetings down there is for the Foster Park, the drugs down there. It's it's a lack on the people's part of paying attention to the government. If we take it back at this level, all the small levels, you guys know, like all the smart stuff you're talking about, you guys know how to help fix the system, but you need the backing of the people to do it. And it's just a matter of waking them up. What was the deal? I heard you're pro tem?
Yeah, so I'm not the mayor.
Oh, okay. They're just not here
I'm normally a council member.
Okay. You know what?
And he runs a way better meeting than I do.
Nice.
I was like, what do I say here?
You did good. You did awesome. I miss most of it because I'm just worried about the shot. Like once it's just me and my kid that do it. So it takes a bit for the videos to get up. Usually it's about a two week turnaround because he does all the editing. So I just go out and record. I'm the guy that doesn't mind getting yelled at. Like with my jobs and stuff over the years, I don't mind it. Whatever, get it off your chest. But and then he does all the editing and publishing and stuff. But they just had a second baby, so I got a couple different videos. I got the 13th and Popular Fire. I got that all recorded. That was crazy. Yeah, and I got probably 25 minutes worth of footage. I got kicked out twice by the police. Once was on private property. I didn't even realize I just was watching the screen. And then by the time the lady's like, hey, get off the property, I'm like, hey, I'm moving. Well, there was a cop right there. He's like, you need to get back. I'm like, dude, I was. You just see me walking backwards. So, and then he's like, just go down the driveway, you'll be all right. So I walk down the driveway, walk all the way down the driveway to the road, cross the road, and I'm walking along the fence line, and I see the dude that was lived right there. And I was like, hey, this is your property. He's on the other side of his fence. He's like, no, it's not. It's public. I'm like, no, there's the easement. That's your property. Your fence line sits back. Can I stand on your property and get some footage? He's like, dude, you can stand there all night long. What about that time the same cop comes over? He's like, hey, I told you to get back, and just starts.
I talked to him.
Yeah, and then kid, he was intentional. There's a bunch of people walking around. If you're that stressed, put up tape. Put up crime scene tape. Like you got EMTs. He told me to go over right by the EMT trucks. I'm like, why would I stand in their way when there's a big old fire going right there?
Yeah.
And
My mom was telling me they had people down there. They listen to Scanner. Maybe it's my sister. They listen to Scanner all the time.
Yeah.
And she was saying that like people, they were having people call and having cops go out there because like they didn't want to light their neighbor's yard on fire and it was dry and they wanted to know if the police could do something.
Oh wow.
Just like, no.
Yo, I'm just gonna get some of these things. It's always cool, especially a little town like this. I'm gonna have to next time if I could. I'm gonna come early and just kind of walk around City Hall, just kind of take. I don't know what areas you can walk, but just the public areas. And
This is about it.
is it? Oh dang.
It's pretty small.
It's a pretty. When I walk back into the bathroom, really, it's a pretty cool building. Really. I'm not sure what year it's built or nothing, but.
I don't know what year. I want to say it was.
I don't even know. I know we had a date at some point, but it's been there a long time.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
See you next. Is it every month?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. We'll see you next month.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see ya.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Okay, you let me know, but I'll start working on that.
See you guys. I got it, brother.
All right. Have a good night.
Hey, you too now.
We are in the town of UnionTown, Washington. Just got done with the city council meeting. Fortunately, if anybody from the Uniontown sees this, there was 2 people there. I recommend with a beautiful little town like this, obviously there was stuff that they were talking about, that the city council was talking about. I'm gonna walk up to that Memorial Park too. That is awesome every time I drive by. Property is protected by video surveillance. I just want to get a shot of that memorial real quick. We don't want to get the kids in there, so let's just go right there. Oh, I thought I just heard a snake. Look, it's just a garter snake. This is really cool. This is really cool. I think we forget that. Land of the free, home of the brave, or home of the free because of the brave. So worried about, oh, do we got medals up there? I think we might have medals up there. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. No things, just, it looks like it says Navy and stuff like that on it, but still pretty cool. What is this? Oh, the flags are up there. Oh, they're not blowing. Oh, we got Old Glory. Old Glory on top. Beautiful. Alright, y'all. We are going to go home and we're going to eat some dinner, hang out with the dogs, and all that good stuff. So y'all have a good night. It is, I better didn't check the date, did I? Man, I am slacking. Alright. This is the 10th. July 10th. UnionTown, Washington. And we're going to sign off. Y'all have a good night. If you're doing something you want to do with somebody you care about. I love that saying. So, alright, y'all. C-Town Free Press. We're out.